Hey everyone. Something a little bit different. All the Reno stuff is going on, but I have other little designy things that I want to do. I am going to be making a set of custom belt buckles for some belts. And I just spent the last half hour or so doing some sketching. It is a Titanic themed belt based off of the old uniforms. So I was sketching out all the stuff that I need, dimensions, figuring all these things out. And then basically what I'm gonna do, scribe it out on this chunk of brass. It's a 1/4 inch by 2 inch brass stock. Gonna try and make 2 of them so that one of them I can screw up and the other one can be good. Just gonna do a little process of me scribing this stuff out. I sort of know what I'm doing here, but not really. It's a lot of just kind of looking and guessing, and basically what I want to do with this is I want to lay it out so that it is kind of the basic shape. A lot of the detail I will do in layers, so I'll basically like cut and then detail and cut and detail. But I've done one of these before. It turned out pretty good. Something similar to this. I didn't use brass. I used aluminum, which is, I think, softer. I don't know. I don't really know. But we're gonna just scribe this thing out. So let's do that. Let's point you down here. Here's my book. Do I trust the people at the metal shop about a straight edge? Yeah. It's good enough. Okay, so where am I? So we're starting off with a couple 3/16 lines. I also am aware that I'm gonna have to, there's a blade thickness, so when I'm doing cutoffs it'll be different than actual markings. And is this going to be exact? No. Technically these were all, mass glass manufactured. That is what it is. But because this is all going to get ground down and polished, I can just scribe it all in. And it doesn't super have to be the most accurate thing in the world, because it's just going to like whatever feels correct. I'm also dropping this thing down to, I should get a straight edge. Give me a sec. One of these guys. Because yeah, it doesn't super matter, but if we got the tool, we might as well use it. Might as well use it. Look how shiny brass gets when you scratch it. Cool. So that's kind of that. So there's sort of like what we're doing, right? Cutting that out. I'm going to do the line down the midway. That should get me. Yeah. So that's the main like buckly buckle part. And then the next one is 5/8. I think so. Looks pretty good. But yeah, there we go. That's sort of the shape. This inner piece is this one, and I'm going to make another one which is the outer piece, and they kind of lock together. It's kind of like your standard military style. Do I have a marker somewhere that would actually write on this that I could do my edges? That'll work for now. Marking it out. So my cutoff can be somewhere over here. Cool. Let me do the other one, and I'll mark everything first so that I can do it all in waves. Why does it always get crunchy like that? I don't know why. I don't know why it does that. Anyways, there it is. Here it's all laid out. Good thing I got 12 inches. I need 11. So, yeah. So we're going to get this figured out. I do also have some depth cutting I'm going to do, but it's probably just going to be grinding. I've got a die grinder that I'll just carve away at it. should be pretty good at eating through it. Yeah, I'm going to track down a blue Sharpie or a red Sharpie just to like mark it so that I don't screw up, because you always screw up. You always do. Unless you mark everything. That's what all these the little X's are in the bits that I don't need. So I'm going to track down something. All I have is this silver, which doesn't show up. So I gotta find something. I'm just going to use this white grease pencil. So just to mark everything out a little bit better. This is a Sharpie brand one, which I'm non-partial to. I kind of started using the China brand. I like them a lot. I feel like these ones just like crumble a little bit more, which is annoying. Mark this out a little bit. Oh, this doesn't... I hate the sound of this. I've got these little like cutout bits in the middle because that's how the whole thing fits together. And yes, I have not drawn in any tolerances, but what I'm going to do is try and go right to each line. That way the tolerances show up from me having to clean things up. Yeah, not the biggest fan of this. I prefer a Sharpie. It's like a little bit nails on chalkboardy. Would you believe I'm non-partial to? Oh, okay. That kind of works. That's what we're doing. Cool. Let's go find the grinder. I think it's downstairs. Carve into some of this stuff. We're missing teeth on this thing. We'll see if it works. If it doesn't work, we will hold off on completing this cut, because I've done it with the grinder, and man, oh man, does it suck. You want to be using a cut-off wheel. Oh right, I forgot I have to balance this thing. We're gonna see how this goes. I got my light. Let's cut away. Failure is always an option and always possible. So we just have to keep that in mind. Let's start right here. Seems to be going well. Yeah, just take my time. All right, not too bad. I tried to get some of the corners. It's gonna because they don't have the weight behind it. It's gonna start biting, which I don't want because it'll start flying around. But yeah, there we go. We got the bases cut. You have to drill some holes for these bits. Yeah, maybe I'll cut out the sides on this, but again, I'd need to bolt this thing down if I want to start putting any more crunch into it. But what I could do is I could start drilling out some of these corners just to get those drilled out. But yeah, it's a nice little start. Look at that. Crazy angle. I'm gonna do a little work. It's the morning. It's the weekend. I'm gonna do a little work on these buckles. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna grab some of my drill bits and I'm just gonna mark out, like augering out a bunch of holes to kind of rough shape it a little bit more, because I can use a bunch of cooling fluid on this and maybe do a little bit less chaos. I'll clamp this thing down and then I'll just like drill a bunch of holes. I'll probably use 2 different sizes. I'll use like a 1/4 inch and then maybe we do an 1/8 inch. I know it seems small, but start with a 1/4 inch. Just gonna scribe it out. Just, you know, a little lovely Saturday morning scribe-a-roo. Actually, that's not my 1/4 inch. I'll track down my 1/4 inch and then I'll do that. But yeah, I'm just gonna do that. Immediate change of plan. I'm just gonna screw it all. I'm gonna do it right here on my desk. I'll set a little depth guide for my drill bit. I just didn't want to mark it and then drill it and just like do the work twice. So yeah, let's just go right through it. I just went downstairs. I was like, I'm gonna make a mess. Morning smoothie. Now we got these things. I'm gonna have to carve out this entire block, right? But just to save myself a little bit of pain, I just augured out as much I could have done a little bit more, but I augured out as much of the material that I am just going to get rid of so that I don't have to deal with that. Yeah. You start to see kind of the shape. So there's like a two sides to it. This side is going to kind of fit inside of there and lock like that. And they'll kind of like sit over top of each other like that. It's pretty chunky buckle. They're pretty heavy. I might as well do one of them. I'm just gonna have to set up a pocket and just like carve away. But yeah, that was that. Maybe I do one. Because once I set up, I sort of just want to sit there for like, I think when I was doing this before, it was like 4 hours of just like, and then like checking and coming back. So it takes some time, but it's pretty good. I like the ring on them. Brass. I love brass. Everything should be brass. Everything should be solid. Listen, don't get me started on materials. We'll get onto that later. Yeah, we'll see when I do the next bit. Some point today, probably. I think I'm just going to hang out, finish my smoothie, finish my coffee, and then get to carving. Yeah! Wow, it's a good thing I put these goggles on. I don't know if you can see this. I was getting peppered with brass. I mean, here, look. Brass everywhere. Yeah, these will be shaving, so I gotta deal with this. They don't quite fit together, but that's okay. So we got 2 of these. You see what's going on. Oh, the frickin'. Wait. So bright and lovely. Anyways, we got 2 of these. One of these is a little crooked, but it's okay. I'm going to make one that is all nice and fancy, and the other one is going to be all dilapidated and messed up. So, 2 of these things. Basically, this is going to fit through that opening. I'm going to thin this out to half its thickness and this as well. But I need to get the designs on there first. And then it's going to kind of sit like that as a buckle. So you actually like set your size, and then you just kind of clasp this together. Oh, there we go. And then this will turn. It'll work when it's the right size. How did I get this in? Oh, they're stuck. It's like one of those puzzles. Probably like an angle that the circle is thinner. There we go. Yeah, so it gets in like that. Anyways, yeah. But that's the beginning. That'll be a nice little buck. It's so nice and heavy. So the next step is going to be tracing out. I'm going to do a floral pattern on this, like a little wreath. And then there's a little flag symbol that goes on this for the White Star liner. But I want to get that drawn up. But I got to find my Sharpies so I can draw that up. And then, yeah. I guess I'll probably like clean up some of these edges as well. Got to get some files and whatnot. But yeah, we got it. Progress. So here's the goal. I just sketched these things out. This is kind of like, we're going to look like a little wreath, and then a little white star. How do I center this? Centering it would be like there. Yeah. The little white star logo. These, obviously, I will make sure that they fit, and I'll smooth them all out. But I need to do the rough forming first, and then I need to get my wheels and stuff so that they're... I might high polish them. We'll see, because I would need to buy some more stuff for that. But I want to make them fit. They're going to be fitting kind of tight, and then I will make them nice and shiny. I'm also debating, because technically all of this stuff is raised, because these are cast. Because I'm carving, it's way easier to carve in the stuff. So, for example, like all of this that's all technically lower than the flag. I just never do that. It's always harder for me to kind of think that way. So we will see if I want to do it like that. I kind of do, because then it'd be cool. Like it would look cool. I'd be able to raise this. The problem with it is when you are cutting around and emboss, it's the opposite of when you're cutting in, right? When you're cutting in, things tend to get bigger and bigger and bigger because you just have to keep carving away. When you're doing the other way, things tend to get smaller and smaller and smaller. So I just have to make sure I'm very careful not to beef it. So let's I'm going to start doing a little bit of this. Let's see what happens. Fleshed out. Look at that. I guess the next bit is going to be, I'm going to do the other one, and then I'm going to clean them because you see that it's all speckled. So I basically have to go through and go through a polishing process of them. But it's pretty good. Not too bad. I am, now covered in brass, as is the case. I didn't get it in my hair this time. Yeah. On to the second one. I'm gonna see if I can block that one in super fast. Here we go. Got a half hour. It's warm to the touch. But starting to carve it. I'm hoping this is going to be the good one. I don't know if I already said that, but this one does look great. I did a little bit of extra work, just like testing out some different wheels. So I got that little, the white star logo. But this one feels a lot more structured. So I've got it fleshed in. I'm going to try and be a little bit more careful with the star logo on this one. But before I do that, I am going to rough in this guy, as well as rough in the laurel, I guess, so that at least I've got like a bit more of a, I don't know. I like what I did with this one. Like it's good. It looks good. But if I can do it better, this would be a great base to do a little bit of corrosiveness. Like easy peasy. That one's done. So I'm going to try and be a little bit more careful with these, clean them up. And you can see on this one, I have found out how to get a nice polished finish there. So obviously I have to do it to around the star and all that stuff. But we're gonna get away from the rough burnish edges, although it's way easier to get that. Yeah. So I gotta go now. But a little half hour bit of work. Well, it's gonna be no time to you, but we'll be back soon. I was cold because I was on the motorcycle and it's like 2 degrees outside, so I'm gonna be all bundled to warm myself up. Let's get carving. Buckles. Here's the thing. I actually think this one, here's the problem. I like the laurel on this one, and I like the flag on this one. So if I make this the good one, which I think maybe I'll do that one just because the flag is a little bit better. This flag the star didn't come out as nice, right? Like I could probably clean it up, but it's going to shrink. So I'm going to start with cleaning that star, and then if I can get it good, then yo-ho, I will turn that one into a good one. And if I can't, I'll switch to this one, and that'll be my good one. And this one will be the one that I shall corrode to high heavens. It is kind of cool how they work, right? That they kind of fit in, and then they can't come out. Yeah, let's clean up the star, see how it does. And then I got to get all my other grinding wheels. Yo-ho! What is up? Ugh. Time to delaminate all these things from my head. It's a good time to sit in there and throw in some podcasts on and grinding away. But we are doing pretty dang good. If I do say so myself. So I can technically switch them, which one to which. I've got so much aluminum oxide dust in my nose. There we go. 2 buckles. Look at them. Look at them. They're pretty good. I do like the laurel work on that one more. But I do think that this is just an overall better flag. And the laurel work is sort of fine on that, right? So I think this is going to be the good one. I did a little bit of sanding on the on everything else. So that's going to be our good. This one, then, which also, it's a little, I don't know if you can tell, but like these points here are a little bit that way. So this one, I'm going to basically destroy. I'm going to float it over a bath of ammonia and let it just corrode away. Probably going to need a couple hours. So I think these are good, though. I think this is probably where I'm going to keep them. Because, yeah, that's lovely, right? I could polish it up even more. I've got some polishing compounds and whatnot. We'll see. I might polish them up a little bit later, but yeah, that's pretty good. Oh, and they pang so well. Tomorrow is going to be any little bits of updating I need to do on them. And then making some belts for them. I do have to add, I really, really, really hope I've got brass buckles, because I have to add a buckle onto it. These are just going to be strapped on, and I got to do a little bit of math for that. But there we go. Yeah, I'll show you these. I'll do maybe a little bit of B-roll. But yeah, working good. Look at all these brass. Yes, look at this. Look at that. This is going to be the corroded one. That's the nice one. Yeah. Pretty snazzy. Pretty snazzy. Look at this. We're in the kitchen. I just realized I got to do this now because I got to patina everything to get it done, hopefully, maybe later tonight, but who's to say? I think I've decided I'm going to do this one just because the flag's a little bit different. Because I kind of like that one's a little bit closer, and I can clean up the laurel if I want on this. So this is going to be the one that I'm going to absolutely panhandle. I'm going to like brush it off a bit, and then I'm going to make my patina, which is basically just going to be ammonia and salt. I haven't found a super definitive way to do it, so probably what I'm going to do is bath of ammonia underneath. I've heard that it's the fumes, not the liquid itself, that do the work. So we're probably going to do a little dunk in it just to wet it, cover it in some salt, put it in a box, and then just sort of leave it for a bit. I was seeing 8 hours. I've seen also people doing it for 24 or 48. I've also seen that it takes like 3. So I think I'm going to have to get some of the polish off of this. I'm going to have to open up the pores just so that it's not as shiny, and maybe almost bring it back to this a little bit. So I'm going to do that real quick. Maybe I'll just hit it with like some sandpaper, like a really rough sandpaper, and then that'll get in there. Yeah, let's go do that. Just cut a little elastic here. That's sort of what I'm going to... Oh! Beautiful. I'm sort of just going to do that. The rubber should survive, right? I was going to do... I know people have done wire before, and wire... If I'm trying to corrode metal, that's not the greatest option, so I'm just going to do this. Yep. We'll wrap around there. We'll separate them. Look at that. Perfect. We've got our frickin' ammonia. It smells like clean, I guess. I'm just going to pour a bunch in there. I don't super know what I'm doing, and I think no one ever does, because whenever you Google what do you do with this, people just there's 19 different ways to do it. I'm going to try and get it a little bit on the face. I don't super want to touch this, but we have now touched it. So we're there now. A little bit of the salt there. And I don't actually know, here's something that's going to be interesting. I wasn't able to figure out, what does the salt do? Does it do the blue? Does it, does it just help with the reaction? What's the actual like purpose of the salt? I don't know. So there we go. That's that. Put a lid on it. And now we leave it. It is 6:12 on a Thursday. 6:12 p.m. on a Thursday. I'm going to try and see if like a 3-hour... Do you want to look at me? I don't know. The other way around. I'm going to try and see if a 3-hour does anything. I want it to get like really, really blue. I'm worried it's going to take like a day. But them's the beans. We're on the floor again. But this is an old piece of leather from a chair that I fixed up. And I should have thrown it out because it's so dry that you can tear it with your hand. But I need to make a belt that is nice and old. So what I'm going to try and do before I get into any of the new leather is for the old leather, I'm gonna try. These are crazy gloves. I just got them, but I'm gonna try conditioning this thing back up while I wait for the brass. And if I can get a little bit of life back into it, I can use that. And I'm gonna use my neat's foot because it's the most intense. Kind of see how shiny the gloves get. So I'm just gonna go over it. It's gonna darken up a little bit. That's okay, because I'm gonna condition it and then I'm going to dye it along with another piece. So I'm gonna see if this conditioning works, because this stuff is hella crunchy. If it doesn't, I'll just use some other stuff. But the nice thing about using this over like some new leather, because I'm gonna make one of the buckles or one of the belts all kind of like worn and like it's been sitting at the bottom of the ocean. That's what all that distressing is. So this does a lot of that distressing work for me. And why do the work? You don't have to. We're gonna saturate the bejesus of this. Neat's foot oil is, from what I've found, very good at rehydrating. So I've done a chair with it that was really, really bad. And it brought it back, but did make it much darker. That was not the problem. The problem was that it was falling apart. So just working it in. I'll flip it over, do the other side as well. And then I'll leave it for a bit. I'll cut out my other piece, and then I'll do that rip test again, just in case. I would hate to make it, and then it still tears, because you can't have a belt that tears. That's not helpful. Also, this side soaks up way more oil, so I might have to be a little bit more sparing with it, but it should be fine. No one's going to wear it for a little bit. Yeah, the other stuff that I tend to use, I did use some stuff from a local shop, but they have switched to, I think they're using like a Red Wing is what they now stock. A Red Wing kind of boot conditioner. So I want to try that, but I've also got some mink oil, which works. Not too bad. I just like this stuff because it was like beeswax based. And I've been a big proponent of 100% beeswax for conditioning and waterproofing, because it's not perfect, right? It's gonna still get, the water's still gonna go through, but it's 100% natural. It's just the bees. You can buy it at the drugstore, right? Like you don't need to go to some crazy shop that's like, we sell. Oh. But this other stuff was beeswax based, and it just had a bunch of like other stuff in it, like fragrances and other essential oils that helped. So that's that. It's obviously darkened quite a bit. I'm just using this spare 2x6 as a base for it. Let's leave it for a bit and see what happens. Let's get that other piece cut. Feels good wearing gloves, and you can just take them off. So there we go. Yeah, I'm on the floor. I like the floor. It's great. I don't have any tables to work on right down here, and I needed the space. So that's all that punched out. And the way it's a little bit of a funky buckle. The way that this is set up. We got our flag part, right? There's the flag. The flag. This wraps around here, and we'll stitch it in place like so. This then goes around the body, and then this side goes in the other side, like that. So we've got our little clip, which can then be put together like that. This has a place for a buckle because that is exactly what goes there. So this way you can adjust the size of the belt, and there's the buckle on this side. It sort of comes together like that. And the nice thing about this is I can just put dots, holes all the way along that line, and you can go from, you know, big size to small size. This is just going to go all the way around the body. And that's probably why the military likes buckles like that, because they just make one belt. And they just, if you've got a small waist, you just tighten it up more. So that's that. How is this doing? Also, how long is this? The other one is very long, right? Like, this is not where you put a belt, but look at how much longer it is than I would need. It's probably 14 inches too long for me. So that'll fit most people. Let's try this out. It's funny how conditioning something works. So I'm going to do one more condition on this because that, you saw how easily I was tearing that before. And then I got to dye everything black. And this one's going to be fun because I can dye it poorly because it's going to be bottom of the ocean. Okay. Black. And then this is the other one, which is going to be very interesting. I hope it actually works. But you can see it's got this like kind of brownish, I almost want to say it's like coffee, like it's super dark, because I did a light coat on it and then didn't cut through whatever glaze was on the original. So that's going to give a really interesting kind of background for the buckle, right? As you can see, it'll be, you know, something like that. I was going to try and get these done today. I don't think that's going to be the case because all that stuff needs to dry, and then I got to burnish it all after it's dried. So I gotta wait for that. But in the meantime, we can take a look at some of our buckles. I threw in the other buckle, which didn't really do much. So I put it in some vinegar. Still isn't really doing much. Damn that zinc plating, right? So this is the gold one. It's got a little, like you can see, it's got a little bit of kind of scuffing on it. That should be give or take fine. I might try and do it more, but this one, this is the one that we want to see. So it's been 4 hours. Look at that. Look at that. It is a pretty fast process, to be honest. My elastic has survived. I should get gloves, shouldn't I? These are the gloves that I was just using, so they're all covered in stuff, but that's okay. Look at that. So this is all, this kind of blue is kind of what we want, but as you can see, I am rubbing a lot of it off. But we are getting, you know, there's still a little bit of patina in there. So I'm going to just like dunk it in the stuff. You know what? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm going to give it a little wash off. Give me a sec. Da 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 da. Washing noises. So the salt, I was trying to figure out, like, okay, can I science this out and figure out what's doing what? Is the salt causing the coloration? Is it the fumes? Is it the what? Look at that. Look at that. And that's why you use real metal. Beautiful color. It looks like the salt locations. It almost was like the water was doing it. So I sprinkled a bunch of water on it. I think it was where the water was. So there was somebody who was saying like you spritz it down with water and that does an activation thing. I don't know. I love that there's just blue up here and like a little bit in the corner here. I love the coloration on it. What I could also do is hit it quick with a little Scotch-Brite or something. Let me go do that right now. The highlights. I may want to do it again after this, but just a bit. Just ever so slightly. because I don't want to get it too bright. And then to seal this, I don't know. I don't know how I want to seal it. Yeah, that looks great. A couple ways that I could seal it. I can put a clear coat on it, but the clear coat's going to fall apart eventually. I did see somebody said that they've used wax before, so I might look into doing that. A little bit of like a wax coating, which again will fall off, but at least it's, you know, a little more natural. But something just to take the edge off of it. But like, that's a buckle. That's a buckle. That's been at the bottom of the ocean. Oh, yes. And that's sort of what we're looking at. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. I might mink oil this one just to get a little bit more stuff in it. And then we're going to call it for today. We're going to stitch it all up tomorrow. Okay? That's the goal. That's the goal. Hey. I lied. I put it back in. I put it back in the ammonia just because I wanted to. I wanted to get more, and I left it overnight. So blue, cool. Not tons. Like I did like a layer at the bottom, and then I just put it on top. You're supposed to like lift it up, so the bottom is not gonna, the back side is not going to be all funky. But let's rinse it out. Oh, like look at that. It looks like Gatorade. It's crazy. Oh, it looks good, team. It looks good. Paper towel roll. I'm going to show you the backs first because reveals, right? So here's the backs of them. Lovely. Like it looks great. But that side was sitting in the ammonia, so it shouldn't have done much. But look at that. Look at the other sides. Oh. Oh. If I gave you that and I said, I found this at the bottom of the ocean, you'd be like, you did find it at the bottom of the ocean. Look at that. Oh, beautiful. I don't know if I'm even going to hit that with anything. I might just like give it a little bit of this is what I did yesterday. Beeswax salad bowl finish. And you're like, Emmerich, what? What do you mean salad bowl finish? Well, told y'all I'm a big fan of beeswax. And I thought, you know, gunmetal is sometimes waxed. So I'm just going to put a little bit on here. Just with my fingers, kind of rub it in. And it's going to take some of the color off, but not all of it. We should all be using beeswax more. The bees make it. They make it for us. That's exactly, I went on the internet and the internet said bees make wax for us. That's what they do. Yeah, no, beeswax is great. So this will just, you know, oh, even that, look at that. The low points, like getting that beautiful, like, tealy blue. That's one of my favorite colors, is that kind of messed up brass color from that. Yeah, and it's not as blue now, but like you're still getting it in all the cracks and the crevices. Beautiful. That's a buckle. Gorgeous. Okay. I gotta stitch these things together, and hopefully that one piece of leather that I used from the old thing has decided to reinvigorate itself with all of that oil in it. So here it is. I wanna show you details. Oh, I freaking love this. That's such a good color. And remember how we were seeing a bunch of that like cracking when you were rotating it, or like when I was bending it, I was getting like a crack like that. This actually feels pretty good there because as I'm bending it, I'm not getting it splitting open. It's doing much better, much better. There's going to be a tight bend here as well, so I'm just going to test that. It's not bad either. There's a little bit of that crack out. What I might do is I might put another piece of leather behind it just to strengthen it, but that's not bad. It's not bad at all. And the rest of the belt, like, it's a little bit dryness here, but It's pretty good. It feels good. Maybe one more thing of conditioner just for fun, you know? We'll condition that and then we'll start stitching. All right, leatherworking. So, yeah, I do leatherworking, and it's a lot of fun, and I think everyone should get into it because leather is natural and a great commodity, and you can just kind of like grab it and work on it and fix things and repair and anyways, blah 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 blah. So we're gonna start with the nice new pretty one, but the way I need to do this is I need to stitch the buckle on first, and I have to stitch it backwards, I believe. I believe that's how it's going to work, because I want it to, I want it to sit like this, right? So there's my buckle, and I want this to be outside. So if I want that to be outside, I'm going to need this to live like that on here, right? So that it all makes sense. So I'm actually putting this thing on backwards, inside out. So that's kind of what we're doing. We'll stitch that on first. I got my little horse here. I'm not, honestly, I should glue it, but I'm not even going to glue it. It's not going to matter. The glue, for leatherworking, the glue is what holds it in place while you stitch it, not necessarily what holds it forever. It's the stitching that does that. So if I just clamp it in place and go yo-ho, and I'm sort of like comfortable with that, and that works. Yeah, we're gonna use some black thread. I don't use much. Usually what I say is I say 4 times my length, but if I'm doubling back, so that's like this far, so 4 times that, it's only gonna be like this much thread. That's hard to work with, so I always try and have at least 6 to 8 inches of length to pull on. So for my belts, I usually do like 2 feet for the stitching bit. And I've got my pattern of like where everything sits. But like that's all the thread you need, right? I'm just using a waxed nylon. I don't have my bigger needles, which I should get them. But smaller needles work. They'll make it easier to go through. They're just harder to thread because you got to kind of like squeeze it through. And I'm doing not a whip stitch, what's it called? Saddle stitch? I think that's what it's called. Don't quote me on that. I'm doing a stitch, and it involves a needle on either side of your thread, and you go like this. So one of the reasons why hand stitching leather is so much more durable than machine stitching is because each individual stitch that is hand done is a loop, like it's a little loop on itself, right? And when you're machine stitching, caramba, I really should get the bigger ones. When you're machine stitching, what you're technically doing is you're running one line at the bottom and you're looping the thread around it. So if you cut this line, the whole thing starts to pull apart. The nice thing about hand stitching is if you lose a stitch, it still stays strong. So that's why I kind of do that. Anyways, I'm going to stitch this up, or I'm going to thread this up, and then I'm just going to kind of work through this. There was wax in there, that's why I couldn't get it. Yeah, okay, so let me see if I can adjust the view of this so you could see a little better. Yeah. Or, wait. I won't be able to do this the whole time, but I can kind of show you what we're doing. So, we're going to start 1 stitch in. Usually you do like 2 or 3, just for the lock, basically. Oh, where are my micro pliers? Micro pliers are great to just grip these things, but we'll be fine. So I pull that all the way through. Then I go up. And what I like to do is I'll send the needle through, and then I'll send the other needle through as well. And what this sort of hopes to mitigate is sometimes what you can do is you can put the needle through the thread and lock the thread Like you can go actually through the thickness of the thread, and then you can't tighten it as well because it's sort of like locked into a position. But yeah, and just do that. And all those like videos online of seeing people doing stitching, that's all they're doing. They're pulling it through and they're cutting it very lovely. And yeah. So then we just go back down to the one we started on. So we've got a little bit of a lock on the first stitch. And what I'm actually probably going to do is I'm going to not go all the way across for the last time so that I can keep the number of stitches to 2 on every hole so it looks nice and clean. And yes, I know that there's so many people out there who are like, what are you doing? Why are you stitching a bell? Just like put a rivet in there. I think it's more resilient. I've never had one of these break in... Oh, I need my pliers. Give me a sec. I need my pliers. I couldn't find them. I've got other pliers. Yeah, people will be like, oh, why are you using stitching? Just rivet it. And then it's easy peasy. That's not the point. I think it looks nicer, cleaner with a stitch line instead of a rivet. You can save a little bit of leather doing that. And I like it. So that's kind of what I do. I keep going through it. I'm going to set up a different camera. A little time lapse. Let's go. So this is the last little bit. I was going not matching the needles because when I'm doubling back, it doesn't matter. I'm already going through thread. I don't know why it's all crunchy again. I mean, maybe it's because it's old. It doesn't matter on when I'm doubling back on thread because it's like it's already locking on the thread. So yeah, I'm gonna push this through. Hopefully I don't stab myself because now we're at the last little bit. So the goal here is to lock the thread in a nice spot. I'll see if I can find a place. Sometimes I just take it off the horse for this last bit just so that I can fiddle with it, right? Yeah, and I like the handness of it. I like working on. Okay, there's a little bit of a. Here we go. Push it on through. And now we're going to just melt it a little bit. One of the things that is nice about gluing is you can glue it and then punch your holes. So you saw me punching these holes previously, right? Like pre-punching the holes so I know where all the stitches are going to go. But what you could do is you could punch those holes after it's been glued so they all line up perfectly, and then stitching is super, super easy. But I also do a lot of projects where either the holes are already there or the stitching is the thing that creates the third dimension. So you sort of have to figure out how many stitches and holes you've got and line it up, and then as you stitch it together it kind of forms into a shape. So joining planar surfaces, am I right, y'all? But because of that, you can't really glue it first. Okay, cool. So I do that, take my my needles out, then I'm gonna pop it back on the old horse. Yeah, but just like kind of like there for now. And then I just tie this thing off a bunch because I want to make sure that the thread stays nice and safe. So I tie it once, twice, oops. And I'm doing it underneath the piece. Like it's like I'm trying to hide it. I know some people do like that, the Instagram thing where you just cut it really close and then you melt it and you squish it down. I think this makes me feel better. I feel more secure with it. I stitch it underneath, I tie it a bunch of times, then I twist them together. I take a little knife, cut it down, and then I do the melting because it's all nylon based thread, right? So I melt it and then I squish it down with a little awl. Sometimes you can get lucky and the thread actually fully lights, and you can like let it work its way in deeper. But now I just have like a little bobble there. I've also really enjoyed using a soldering iron, so I can really get into the crevices. But like that works. Cool. There you go. That's a stitched buckle. Nice and strong. And now we can start kind of putting this thing together. There's still one more stitch we've got to do, but this goes through here this way. And then I still haven't put the holes. I got to put the holes in. I'm going to put the holes in real quick. This goes in here. Then this goes into our little buckle. And I'm just going to pick one for now. I do also need a bigger punch. I have one. I don't know where it went. So that's what that does. There's that. And then this guy goes on there. And then goes on like that. It's upside down. Goes on like that. So that's all connected in there. We're going to stitch this piece onto here. And then that's one done. And we got to do the other one. So pretty. It's so pretty. Look at it. It's pretty. I don't know why the sensor's all messed up. You get grainy me for this bit. Oh, there we go. Maybe it's because I'm using the 0.7 sometimes. Like, yeah, 0.7. Ooh, shiny. Oh, shiny. Oh, shiny. Okay. So we'll figure that out. I just got to move the camera back and you get like a different, hey. But look at how pretty that is. Oh. Okay. Let's stitch. I should burnish all the edges first. I should do it. I was like, oh, I'll just burnish it once it's all stitched up. No, that's harder. A couple ways to burnish. Piece of wood on the side. I've got an attachment for my bench grinder, so I'm gonna go do that. I gotta go pick it up and bring it up here. Tools. Once it's all set up, I'll be happy. Okay, let me get that set up. There we go. Yeah, I'm sitting on the floor. I like the floor. Cool. So yeah, all burnishing really does, and I'm just using water. Like I know there's compounds and a bunch of stuff that you can put in, and like waxes, and all it's doing is aligning fibers. So it's taking the edge lines, and when you wear a belt, when you wear leather, and it goes in and out of the belt loops, it slowly wears away. Let me show you. So this is a belt that I made 2 years ago, 3 years ago. This is the shittiest. Here, let me do it like this. Here's what I was showing. There we go. Just aligning the fibers, just thinning, making things a little bit nicer. And yeah, I could polish it and all that stuff. So here's that belt that I was talking about. There's no dye on this. This is just years of wear. I've worn this in rain, snow, hail. You can see like the indigo dye from the jeans. But yeah, so all the edges here, actually, where's a good spot? Like here. So none of that, that's just wear, which I really love that kind of look. And it's all flattened down. It's all nice. So that's kind of, that never needs to be upkept. I never have to keep going back to it and being like, oh, I got to put a new seal on. I got to do this, that. It's just a belt. It's just a piece of leather. So that's why I always say, hey, use beeswax and water because supernatural. Okay, that's done. Let's get back to putting this thing together. There we go. Tweetly tweet tweet. The only thing that I'm worried about is that's pretty wide and some belt loops can't fit that, but that's a freaking belt. Look at that. All right, I guess I do have to try it on. It fits through my buckles, so what is my, so these, I'm gonna have to like test the waist size first. Okay. Yeah, this is for a person that is larger than I am. I'm just gonna do the smallest size. Okay, okay. So if that wants to be up, we just go like this. And then we do that. Oh! I'm chuffed. I'm chuffed to bits. Fully adjustable. Look at that. And then the buckle is on the back side, and it can just tighten as far as you want. Look at that. Time to make another one. We'll do that shortly. There we go. All right, I don't have tons of space left on my camera, so probably not gonna do much. But a couple things I screwed up there. I put the buckle, I didn't let the pokey bit of the buckle come through, so I had to take it all off. I cut that from the video. And then I ran through the thread, so I had to like undo that. But there we go, look at that. That's so pretty. I don't super trust this leather. Like, it's super old. It's off of an old like 60s piece of furniture. So I am getting like, where is it? Especially like right here, we're getting all of that splitting. It should hold. If it doesn't, you know, whoever ends up getting this, I'll just let them know that I'll replace it if needed. Doesn't take tons of time, but there we go. There's the bottom of the ocean Titanic belt. 2 belts. Yeah. I'm gonna package them up, but that's sort of the, where's the other one? Where did I put the other one? It's over here somewhere. You can also see all the dye on my hands, right? Like just bits and pieces. So I'll do a little bit of polishing just to seal them up a bit, but eh. How do I hold these? How do I do a little reveal? There we go. 2 belts. 2 belts. Let's go. Strong. Yeah, little multiple day build, but I'm gonna try and in and around the house builds. I'm gonna be doing other projects here and there. I'm doing a little bit of set design coming up, so maybe I'll do some of that. Throw it on the channel, but yeah. Belts. Love it. Woo! Oh, I forgot to mention, you can buy those belts. They're part of a fundraiser for Pepper's Ghost Productions. Link's going to be down in the description. Take a look. Take them if you want them.